The title of the thesis for PhD law is Fictions of Law, a Critical Study, with a special reference to direct actions law. Hence, we are maintaining legal fictions as the title of this YouTube lectures. But what is contained in the lecture is highlighted in a line. For instance, it is a research into research process and theory building. Then we have highlighted that. Yesterday's lecture, it was micro economy accounts and full self-employment. So we highlighted that, but writing in the line. So in this way we are proceeding. But throughout our recording of this topic, we will be maintaining the title of legal fiction, because all this subject matter and the research is here in this thesis on legal fiction. In legal fiction, is a philosophical subject, is a tool of law, and whatever is existing is equally important, whatever is not existing is equally important. In philosophy and legal fiction is a very vast subject. So it is also necessary to know how the researchers' minds work, because my students have been asking me. I was giving lectures on the research methodology. I have exhausted the literature research methodology relating to legal research and some other books on the research on humanities. References to research in research process are not found. How a researcher builds theories, doctrines, concepts, and theories. Here, our emphasis will be the researchers working on the researcher's mind and developing these theories, how these things occur and how the theories emerge, and their application to the problems we are facing, and then the testing by empirical experience, testing the validity of the thesis. The progress in any field is not necessarily gradual. It is sometimes by way of sudden explosion of knowledge. But whatever appears to be sudden explosion of knowledge is backed by the study, meditation, and research for a very long time. But when it appears on the surface, it looks like a sudden explosion. Thoughts, activities, and actions. Thoughts, activities, and actions. Sincerity of purpose is ever known to nature. In Akashic records, in the cosmic records, our intention, our motives are being recorded. And also what we want to achieve. Like a balance sheet or a hard sky diagram, every time our motives, intentions, our good deeds, our bad deeds have a fluctuating curve. So we add to the credit and debit of our life. Whatever good we do is added to the credit side, whatever bad we do is debited. And this is how the balancing continues. The balance sheet, we may not be aware, but those who are in the field of philosophy and what you experienced, the mysterious happenings of nature, they are aware that in the Akashic records, in the record on the cosmic level, all these things are maintained. And those who are sincere throughout, and the motives or intentions are clean, the nature reveals its secrets, and therefore they are able to do some inventions and discoveries. Although the persons are not able to discover it, because they are most of the time is wasted in trifles, simply they are registered for doctoral degree. The research is incidental to their life. But when research predominantly becomes the life's purpose and aim, then the knowledge starts revealing itself. I know of a college of management recognized by Bombay University, where the library was open day and night, and the college canteen was open day and night. The students will go study at night. Whenever they felt sleepy, they will relax there, go to canteen, take tea, coffee, and breakfast, something, and then again engage in study. In the morning they'll go to the hospital, take a bath, and again whole time, entire process was there, in research and studies. There was no other mind, no other thing. Never discussed any trifles. I never discussed any matter of trifles. I always discussed things of serious nature, about research, about law with my students. Whenever I entered in the campus of the Mumbai University, the students used to gather around me. Because every time they expected some new knowledge, enhancement of knowledge. So in this lecture, there will be a special dimension that I'll be discussing about the life and work of the researcher myself, at the same time research into the research process and how concepts and theories are built, theory building process there. An example I'll give, how the small things can explode into new conclusions. A businessman had 4 private limited companies with a paid-up capital of 10 lakhs each. At the same time, on the asset side, there were accumulated losses of 10 lakhs. So he showed me the balance sheet and he wanted my comment. So I said, although accumulated loss is 10 lakhs, so your net worth has become nil because the paid-up capital is 10 lakhs. So 10 lakhs is the paid-up capital, and the loss of 10 lakhs, you reduce it, it becomes nil. But the implication loss to you is of 30 lakhs. In each case, in one case, 10 lakhs rupees loss means 30 lakhs implication loss. He asked me how. Those days, the rate of taxation on private limited companies was 50% of the profit. So I said, you earn 20 lakhs of profits from the activities of this business over a number of years, paid 50% tax, and saved 10 lakhs rupees, that become your paid-up capital. And then you have shown the loss of 10 lakhs rupees, so your capital has become nil. And again you will have to earn 20 lakhs rupees, pay 10 lakhs rupees tax, then you will restore the lost capital. Then your capital will again become 10 lakhs rupees. So earlier you paid 10 lakhs to get a postal address of 10 lakhs, that became your capital. Now you have lost again that, so your capital has become nil. Now you again earn 20 lakhs, pay 10 lakhs tax, and then you'll be reaching the original position where your paid-up capital is 10 lakhs. This, I explained to him, he was surprised that instead of 10 lakhs rupees shown here, there is 30 lakhs. Implication loss is 30 lakhs. So he asked his people who were concerned with the accounts department. They were all dumbfounded. Nobody was able to speak. I wrote this article in the box office. It was published in the box office. Even if I gave an article, it was a weekly magazine. Even if I gave an article on Friday evening, they published on Saturday as the magazine was circulated. And whenever I called to the box office, they asked who is calling. I said, Defense Never Rests is calling. Defense Never Rests was the title of my column. So he said, box office never rests. So I gave this article, it was published. I gave to the Income Tax Department because I mentioned this in the context of yesterday's lecture, the National Issue on Economic Development. So I took a few Xeroxes, and gave to a few officers who were my friends in the Income Tax Department. They discussed this matter with me. They said, yes, it's a good idea. And people are filing their accounts showing losses. And especially in the film circle, there was a craze of showing losses. The best of films who were in profit, in the box office, they were rated highest. And they were showing losses. So the officers got my articles Xeroxed and kept with them. Whenever a consultant came for a case, they gave a Xerox copy of the article and they said, you comment on this. He took an adjournment, went away, he said, I will come back with a comment, please give me an adjournment. They had no face to show why losses are being declared. And in this process, the process of education was such that people were scared to show losses because they knew that a 10 lakhs loss means 30 lakhs implication loss, and their efforts are total waste and they don't have a net worth ultimately. So this is what we mean by national shaker and economic development. While assessment may be made in a balanced manner, So little taxpayers' education is also important. That losses should not be carried, but the law later on was changed. If a loss is shown, the loss return is a scrutiny return, and when the loss is disallowed, it is treated as profit for tax purposes. So this is another way of discouragement, but the educational purpose is also is there. If they are told that if you declare a loss, so implication loss must also be taken into account. When I filed the returns of income tax, all taxpayers were saying that this money is in circulation and our business. So we'll have to draw funds from the circulation and pay taxes. Why not we can pay from our secret reserve? Secret reserve means black money orbit. There are two orbits of money. One is the orbit of black money, another is the orbit of white money. It's very well known, established. There was a time when 50% of the money was in black and 50% in the white. So whatever is in black, it is black, no doubt. But it is a secret reserve who the taxpayers maintain. Since clubbing is there and other discouraging provisions are there, they suffer futility syndrome and maintain secret reserves. So he said from the secret reserves we'll pay. Why should they ask that you show in the books of accounts and pay the tax out of white money? Even today there are areas of taxes, for whatever reason, enhancement of assessment, levy of penalty, for interaction with black money, because black becomes white, white becomes black. This is an interaction going on in a regular process. And then when it is detected, additions are made and taxes and penalties are levied. So when taxes and penalties have been levied on account of interaction with the black money, so black money is the reason why additions are made. White money is not the reason for additions to be made. So if the black money is the reason for additions to be made and there are tax arrears for this reason, the taxpayer should be allowed to pay taxes out of the black money source. The government can check that the currency that is being tendered for payment is not counterfeit. It should be genuine currency. Note should be genuine. But otherwise, for the black sources, the arrears can be paid and the government should accept. But to insist that the taxes payment should be recorded in the books of account, it should be paid in white, it prima facie appears to be unreasonable. And this is how the doctrine of legal rationality and doctrine of legal accountability has emerged. So I developed these two doctrines, doctrine of legal rationality and legal accountability, that if black money is the reason for additions and tax penalties, it should be paid out of black money. There is no reason why white money should be suffering for that. The white money need not suffer because of the sins and deeds of the black money. So legal accountability and legal rationality, according to these two doctrines, the tax enhancement and penalties that arise out of the interaction with black money should be paid out of black money orbit. And whatever is from the white money source, it should be paid by the white money. But to insist that because sins have been committed by the black money, poor white money should suffer. So the white money will be reduced from circulation. And if the white money is reduced from circulation, the industry will suffer. That's one of the reasons why there is slackness in the industry. We ought to understand this. This is the prima facie truth. Arrears of taxes are mounting. We are not able to recover it. Let it be paid out of secret reserves. Secret reserves, the taxpayer calls it a secret reserve. Government may call it a black money. What is black in that? It is in circulation. Want to go to purchase a house and to pay in black. That means you out of secret reserves to pay the money. When it is known, the factor is known, there are two orbits of money. So let the tax arrears be paid out of the black money. That is the secret reserve. And the tax arrears will be nil and the taxpayer will have a clean balance sheet, will have a clean carrier to go ahead. Similarly, when a return is filed, the net taxable income is declared. And the taxpayer has to net taxable income after, of course, deducting the incentives allowed. And the taxpayer has to pay income tax on that out of white money. He has to show in the books of account where is entered these, where he make the entries. So the businessman has to draw from it, draw from wherever it is. But some businessmen who are prudent, they they set certain percentage apart regularly to pay taxes. But those who are not so prudent, they say will pay and their payment is delayed. If supposing they are allowed to pay out of the black money, because every client raised this point that supposing we pay the taxes from our secret reserve and do not show in the books of account, what will happen? I said they expect you to show in the books of accounts. He says we can pay from our secret reserve and this business, the money that is employed in the business may remain employed because it is used for productive purposes. I said this is not done. Then it occurred to me that the theory of surplus option emerged to me in the circumstances. What the theory of surplus option says, that whatever has been declared in the return as total income, taxable income, that may be treated as a post-tax surplus. And the taxpayer may be allowed to pay the taxes in black money. For instance, if the individual files income tax return and pre-tax surplus is 10 lakh rupees, the income tax will be 1,12,500 rupees and post-tax surplus will be 8,87,500 rupees. Assuming he has declared the income 8,87,500 and he writes the two words surplus option. That means he wants to treat this amount as post-tax surplus. So if he treats this amount as post-tax surplus option, then he pays 1,12,500 rupees as income tax, and he prepaid income, pre-tax surplus income will be 10 lakhs rupees. So if in pays white, he pays white money 1,12,500 rupees on 10 lakhs. If he has to pay in black on 8,87,500, he can pay 1,12,500 and increased taxation, a higher income tax payment will come. Surplus option, whatever he is declaring in return, he says, I want to treat it as surplus, post-tax surplus. So he pays income tax at a higher rate calculated on the ratio between, as I've just explained, ready reckoner, I've always been calculating. If 10 lakhs is the taxable income, in the column of income tax is 1,12,500. So we reduced it 1,12,500. 8,87,500 post-tax surplus. If he files the return for 8,87,500 and writes the words surplus option, he may be allowed to pay 1,12,500 from black money sources. And this is as an ongoing process. Anybody who opts for that ongoing process, he may pay the taxes out of secret reserves. This is how we can reduce the circulation of black money from the black money orbit. So the two suggestions emerged. One, that the areas of taxes and penalties which are mounting may be allowed to be paid out of secret reserves, and it should not be necessary for the taxpayer to show it in the books of accounts, because these areas of taxes and penalties should not be a burden on the white money, so that the production may not suffer, economic activity may not suffer, and the theory of surplus option will be applied, so that whatever is declared in the return may be treated as post-tax surplus, and it may be allowed to pay income tax out of secret reserve at a higher rate, just as we have calculated this moment. So applying these two principles for clearing the areas and for the ongoing process, we can make attempt to reduce the black money supply, and naturally the white money will remain in productive utilization. It has been a delightful experience for me to engage in research, and you too must be feeling similarly, because no books or the research methodology will give you the research problem. The process by which the theories emerge. Now, I've been explaining to you how simply the theory of possibilities has emerged. in a situation where crossing the road, then how the areas of taxes payments theory we're discussing with the clients, and surplus options emerged discussing, and microeconomy, because every taxpayer has always asked the question how to build and consolidate the economy of the minor child and the family members. In the next lecture, we will be discussing the same topic, research into the research methodology, research into the research process, theory building, concept building, and building of doctrines.